my hand in the way. Good morning. Hi everybody, welcome to Djuma Game Reserve this morning. Really lovely morning we have. A little bit chilly, but sun is shining and there's no wind, and that's a good sign. And also, well, I don't know what it is, but it might be the end of this cold front that's moved to the north and the northeast with a very heavy bank of cloud over in the northeast. We've got a waning gibbous moon that's setting next to Jupiter. I don't know if any of you saw that during the night. Well, you might still see it actually. For those of you who are still in darkness, take a look outside. You might see a moon that is, actually let me think, time-wise, maybe not yet. But moon and Jupiter will be setting just after daybreak for everybody. What we can do today, we haven't really got any plans, and so we're just going to drive around. I want to have a look at some of the signs of spring. They're starting to be far more noticeable now, with leaves coming out, the lovely new fresh green leaves. The knobthorns are starting to fade. Maybe we'll find some other things coming into bloom, and well, we're going to see what else we can find for you out there. A little bit overdressed, but it is a bit of a cool wind. My name is Mark, and we're mixing things up a little bit. Tara's on camera with me today. Seb is in final control. Welcome back everybody. Just trying to sort out some lagging issues. And I've just driven over some Leopard tracks. And he's gone down Twin Dams Road. Now I've told you what tracks they are. Now I can't do a track quiz. And I just said I want to do a track quiz, and then I said what tracks they were. Alright, let's see. We should be able to see them quite nicely. This is what Tara and Anton were looking for. I think you could see those. Fairly large male. I'm thinking it's possibly a bit bigger than Induna, this leopard. Let me just go and see something. The track itself is about 11 centimeters long, and if I
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, I mean, and dunas, we measured in dunas at 9.5. That's about 4.25 inches. So this is Mafufunya, one of the big boys. Stations in Konzo Fort Mandode Ingwe heading down Twin Dams Road. Now, in terms of when he was walking here, well, it wasn't very fresh. It's during the night. There's been a wind on top of the tracks, so they are a little bit smooth edged rather than sharp edged. And we'll head down Twin Dams and we'll see what we can find. Bawal. No. Well, the plot thickens.
You say.
Oh, smelly. Very smelly. Thank goodness for sanitizer. Bit of water first. My water's still frozen. I don't have water. I'll use the sanitizer perhaps. I can't tell what hare it is yet. Looks like it could be bushbuck. Now, when a leopard catches something and it starts to feed, they've got a very rough tongue. If you all have a domestic cat, or you ever felt the texture of a domestic cat's tongue, you multiply that 100-fold, you might get close to the texture of a leopard's tongue. And a leopard's tongue is rough like it helps them to actually get the fur off of an animal. And now that's what I'm thinking about this one. I haven't seen any hyena tracks. I'm just going to walk up and down the road a little bit just to have a look, but very interesting. Very strange, because the leopard tracks are still moving. Can you see that, Nyala? Now I can't tell whether this was killed here. There's no sign, there are no tracks that indicate that there are no drag marks. This leopard is still walking on the road in a straight line. Hello little Nyala. And of course that's the other thing, there's a Nyala standing here. Very weird. Definitely the way that hair is lying there definitely looks like it's been licked off. The way I've seen fur licked off of, say, an impala or another carcass of a leopard. But without drag marks, oh wait, here we go. What is that in the road?
Yeah, iPhone, thanks. Sounds like you're going to be the last Juma vehicle there. Would you mind staying?
Shut up. No, that's not drag marks. Well, that is drag marks, but that's another animal dragging his feet and spraying his territory. I'm not allowed to say what animal it is. I'm finding it, Seb. I'm looking. First thing to go, Chalapan, and look to see if we carry on walking south. Keep looking at the road every now and then, see if we can find tracks of his. Here's hyena track. And no leopard. So the last time I stopped there was still leopard tracks. So he's gone off the road already. Whether it's down there or that way is a different. It's a matter to be decided. Oh, squirrel. Other thing about that bunch of fur, it was very wet, but it was also very smelly. I've also seen fur that has been licked off of an animal and it doesn't smell as bad as that. Still got a lingering. Is that squirrel that's shouting? There was one now.
So I'm just wondering if maybe it could be a hyena that they had a scuffle or something. If there's no one of those tracks around.
But there weren't, and there's now there's civet tracks. There's neither hyena nor leopard now.
That long mane hair.
Yeah, no, go with the question, Seb. Yeah, but there's no disturbed sand or anything. There's no sign at all of that leopard even pausing. Maybe it paused, but it didn't falter from its course, its path. It was walking in a straight line. It didn't change direction or anything. And there were no hyena tracks where that fur was. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he had it in his mouth, came from a kill, and he finally spat it out. Caroline in Illinois, morning to you. Interesting question, Caroline. Wanting to know how far a giraffe can rotate its head. Actually not very far, funnily enough, Caroline. Probably about the same amount as we can. They don't have any special abilities or any special vertebra that allow them a fuller rotation. Remember, they don't really need that much of a rotation of their head because their eyes are on the side of their heads, so they just need to be able to turn their heads a little bit to get a 360-degree view. It's things like owls that have the eyes on the front of their face and double the amount of neck vertebra that allow them to be able to twist their heads as far back as they can. But giraffe, as with all mammals, have only 7 vertebrae in their neck, and they're fairly rigid vertebrae. It doesn't allow for that much swivel movement. Okay, so I think big hyena. Hello Linda, welcome in not so hot but a little bit wet Dallas. And welcome Linda. Unfortunately I left that piece of hair behind. I'm not going to wash it. I'm not going to take it again either. Still, even with that sanitizer, I can smell a sanitizer, but I can still smell a little bit of that. It was really smelly. And Tara was saying that maybe there was a bit of a fight, and it looks like it could be maybe the main hair of a hyena. There weren't really any tracks that gave an indication of that. What is that? Lion. But it's not very fresh. When did we have lion here? Quite some time ago. When was there lion on Twin Dams Road?
Sorry?
When?
I don't even think we came down this road yesterday, so I don't think we saw it.
No, but I'm just thinking, I don't recall having... When did we have lion around the dam or around Gowrie that there would be tracks?
I heard them calling, not last night, night before. They passed, oh yeah, no they did, they passed through Voyatella, didn't they?
When?
Not last night, the night before.
Oh, okay. They passed through the area.
That's what
Yeah,
Texas
because those
said.
tracks have been driven over quite a lot already. But I just don't recall seeing lion tracks on Twin Dams Road. So we're just going to take a quick look. Drainage line towards... And then I mean to go up to Weaver's Nest. Need to eliminate now where this leopard has not gone. You see, in the process we're going to see what else we can find. Got a much chance of finding anything whichever way we go. So for the time being we're going to look around to see where this leopard headed to after I lost him. In fact, maybe we'll just drive up the drainage line. Puffback shrike calling loudly. There's a difficult one for your thumb.
Yeah.
I'll leave it for Tara. It'll still be there. Might be a little drier by the time Tara comes round. Oh, the hyena skull. Oh, sorry Linda, I thought you were talking about the hair that I found, wanting to see it when it's cleaned up. Not the... Okay, Linda was asking about the skull. Okay, Linda. Yes, I want to try and get that hyena skull cleaned up. I'm not too sure. What I've done in the past is I've enclosed it in shade cloth or mesh and popped it in the water where the tadpoles and aquatic life clean it up, because everything gets soft. But there are not that many tadpoles and things at the moment, and I need the aquatic insects and things to help clean it. At the moment it's just sitting in the sun. There we go. Cat came out onto this road and it's gone further south. Also a nice place maybe there for doing casts. Of course we don't have Anton with us, but Tara's got all the cast material, and so we'll try and get some of these casts done. Must have cut through there, so now we go and try and find him down. Oh, Racer is saying maybe that fur fell from a vulture flying over. Food for the chick, which reminds me I meant to have a look. I did see it in the distance, maybe just now, later. No, not possible, Racer. Vultures can only carry food to the nest in their crop, and well, maybe unless it maybe somehow regurgitated its food while it was flying. It was very wet, that patch of fur, and there was like a thin membrane on it, like skin. I wonder, actually, before we go down the riverbed, let me just make sure that he didn't go up Bateleur Road. Doesn't look like it.
On Brussels to stop line at the moment, heading west. Hello?
Seen where his tracks cross here, but he is heading south still. Could have come through this long grass area, walked across the road here where there are grasses. So actually what we'll do is we'll try and get down to Twin Dams and Gowrie Main. Leopard is heading south. There's a good chance we might be able to jump it a little bit. I don't know. Save some time if we find tracks further south. Thank you. That was Daleen. Taiyun. Oh, okay. Taiyun. Not sure how you pronounce the name, but welcome to the drive. And saying that when they want to clean a skull, they put it in sawdust with what be some type of beetle, no doubt similar to what we have here, the carcass beetles. Now, if it was summer, I could do that too. I could bury it in. Thing is that here you can't leave it anywhere where it can be dug up by hyenas or something. There's a vulture sitting in a tree. It's probably the mate, because it's not allowed on the nest while she's on the nest with the baby. Good chance that that's... Is it vulture? Yeah. And warburgs on the nest. Oh, the one's just flown. All we can see is the silhouette of them. And that's the other one flown. That's their nest. Not a very big nest compared to most eagles. I'll have to keep an eye on that one too. Haven't heard any alarm calls. Sunbird.
Yeah, white-bellied.
Russet bush willows are in full bloom. Need to find one of those for you today. Baboon. Old baboon trucks. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna have to go with that again, Seb. About floppy. Hello, Dawn. Morning to Dawn. And Dawn's question about the hyena den and the dominance. Are they waiting for floppy ears return? I would like to spend some time at the den to confirm it, because I haven't been to the den for a while. But Teddy's mom, to me, looks like she's taken over as dominant female, as matriarch. Possible that floppy. I've noticed Teddy, as young as Teddy is, showing dominant behavior towards the other animals. Oh boy, again, they're at it again. Alright, now we got to see if this leopard came out here somewhere. But it's something to maybe watch out for the next time we're at the den, is to see how the others become submissive around Teddy and that female. This is the bush willow, russet bush willow flowers. They're still coming out. Some of them are opened up. They're like miniature bottle brushes. Quite pretty. Not much of a scent to them.
There's a couple of seeds on there.
Yeah, they are. Got seed, leaf and flower at the same time. Not too many leaves that are coming out yet. Just the beginning of leaf.
No, there's one there somewhere.
There's one. There are a few others. But the four-winged pod that is characteristic of the family Combretaceae, the Combretum or bush willow family. Most of them have four-winged pods, but you do get a lot of Combretums that have anything from 2 to 7 wings. Been a herd of elephant here too. Didn't get that too well fed. Oh, okay. Sol, morning Sol. In Canada, can the guest vehicles of Juma traverse a bigger area than we can as a camera crew? Yes, very much so, Sol. Much bigger. They can go onto, they cover Buffelshoek, that's why they follow the Matimbas onto Buffelshoek and Torchwood. We're going slightly off off track now, but let's go up to Leadwood Road and up to the east. So far not seeing anything here, leopard wise. And I was going to say that the cloud bank that we had in the east has now moved over, and it's going to be another chilly day. Unless it burns away by lunchtime. That's good, but all possible. Question from New Jersey. Hope you're all drying up in New Jersey. Sue and Kimmy and Patty and quite a few people in New Jersey. What does Yambilu Yordan mean? That's what Sue wants to know. Well, Sue, Yordan is a name. It's the name of a property up in the north on Buffelshoek. And Yordan, the leopard, was called Yordan because he came from that area. Because I think he was originally called the Yordan male, and then he just became Yordan. Pardon? Okay. Right, don't know if anybody heard the name, but there's a bird quiz for you. Very easy one. And another question I'm going to ask you is, why is its beak shaped like that? So, send your answers to questions@juma.com. We should actually have an answers@juma.com.
We should do, shouldn't we? There's another one there as well.
Send your answers to questions. Send your questions to answers@juma. No, other way around.
Excellent. That's it. That was the southern part of Facebook. You must well take that.
Okay, they're all talking about stuff that's happening on Buffelshoek. Okay. Hello. Oh, there's a grey-headed sparrow. So, Susan, in New Jersey. So he was originally called Yordan because he came from the property owned by a man by the name of Jordan. Yordan is a fairly common, no, I wouldn't say fairly common. It's not as common as Smith or Jones. Sorry, Janet, didn't mean that to be common. But it's an Afrikaans surname. And the Yambilu part, Yambilu means heart, and that, I think that was added by Peter and Lishan, which is why some people here won't call him Yambilu Yordan, they'll only call him Yordan. But because of the heart shape on his forehead, it made it easy to recognize him. Sure. Really on cold, getting cold. In terms of on the track of this leopard, you know, the old hot and cold game. Hopefully we're getting warmer, going back towards where we last saw his tracks. Laurie's saying it's a nectar feeder. Okay, half a point there. Yes, it's a nectar feeder. Patty says it's a white-breasted sunbird. Is it white-breasted or white-bellied? White-breasted sunbird, because The beak is decurved like that to get nectar as well. Oh, yeah, pretty good. Bears in the Netherlands. What?
That could have been painful.
If it was, okay. Bears in Netherlands, white-bellied sunbirds. With a beak like that to take nectar from flowers. Gee, okay. I'm going to have to think of slightly tougher questions then. That was too easy. Hello, little Nyala. Mrs. Nyala. Oh, she's going to maybe have a baby. I see in Netherlands. I expected an answer from you. Virginia Garcia. And Lynn Highland in Canada. Of course, Brian, I wouldn't. I'm glad you didn't get it wrong, Brian. Whoops. Jim, is that Jim in Texas? Oh, Jim's in Canberra, Australia. Hello, Jim. In Australia. All getting it right. Someone said lilac-breasted roller or purple roller. Sunbird's about that big, about a quarter of the size. Shrike doesn't have a beak like... Shrike's got a much heavier, almost carnivorous looking beak, almost like a raptor, because it tears insects and small mammals, small vertebrates apart. So, thanks for your answers. And your guesses. I'm guessing some of them were guesses. Valerie, morning. I was trying to see if we can't get to see the juvenile battalier in the tree. I suppose I could have made this a guessing game too, because there are 7 what we call brown eagles, and the juvenile battalier is one of them perhaps. And can be very confusing. It's not an easy bird to identify. The bare face helps a lot. It's almost got an owl look about it. Till it turns sideways and you see how different the face is. But Valerie was saying, asking if vultures stink on account of their habits of eating dead and rotten meat. Yeah, they do kind of smell. Thing is, I've only been around really close to captive vultures. I mean, I've been around hundreds of vultures, but then it's difficult to smell the vultures for the smell of the carcass. I've only once ever been close to a wild vulture, and that was a really strange circumstance. It was up in East Africa once. It was a hooded vulture. It was on the ground and it came hopping up to the vehicle. And I looked over the door of the vehicle at this bird looking up at me. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what it was doing. But I couldn't smell it then. But I imagine they do smell pretty bad. I've been around vultures in rehabilitation centres and they're a little bit cleaner because they get fed bits of meat. They don't go and stick their heads in carcasses. Okay, juvenile batelier, I hope you're going to have a lovely day. That's from the local batelier nest. In fact, the bateliers that we see mostly are the parents of this juvenile. Another interesting question. Hello, Linda. We're moving to Ohio now. Linda wants to know if they tag animals here to track them or if they have any collars on, like for the leopards, so that they can keep track of them and find out where they go. Okay, this fresh buffalo tracks heading over towards Mumba Road. We're going to take Mumba Road. Linda, no. As far as leopards are concerned, you know, we have such a network of roads and we know their territories, we know the areas that they move in. The only time animals are really collared for tracking purposes is when there's research being done. It's a little bit frivolous to just track an animal so that you can find it for game viewing purposes. The stress, first of all, the stress that the animal goes through is incredible. But also the costs involved. Nobody is going to pay that amount of money for all the darting equipment, the drugs, the collar, it's just no. It's just way too expensive to do for just to track an animal to find it for game viewing purposes. So there aren't any collared leopards here at the moment. Leopards are collared in areas where they don't have game drive vehicles going out, where there's not a network of roads, and scientists or people are trying to figure out some way to monitor leopard activity. I mean, we had Anton here from the Ingwe Leopard Research. Is that what it's called now? Not Ingwe Leopard Project anymore. Ingwe Leopard Research. It is now called. There, the buffalo tracks are going over the road now. And they have a number of collared leopards because these are leopards that live outside of a wildlife area. They're free-range leopards living in mountainous terrain, but they are in contact with farmers and people in general, public roads. So it's important to keep track of those leopards. So yes, that's for research purposes. Here there are a few animals that are collared, and they're part of projects that are being done by people in the Kruger, some people here in the Sabi Sand, some of the ecologists here in the Sabi Sand are trying to monitor some animal movement. But in terms of leopards here, what I'm doing is the way we find leopard. I'm trying to find where these tracks went from this particular individual. I could have just parked the vehicle and then carried on walking with those tracks until I found them or found where they went. But unfortunately that would have left the camera vehicle for too long period of time. And I don't want to do that. That's why a lot of it is guesswork. There's lion coming over now as well, but that's old lion track. Gonna go back down Bateleur, Bumber Road. See what we can find. Back to the riverbed. There the buffalo. Two of them. And one that looks very much like old Seesaw. But still, not a great sighting there.
Andrew and Gera. You got texted and he say he's responding.
Yeah, he said he's going east along Central Road. He was at Gary. He said, yeah, he'll give us a shot.
Okay, copy. Because I'm going to share this Mafazi now. I'm going to leave now. Standing by.
Where exactly are you guys now?
We're kind of southeast of that big beacon, that long pole.
Hello, Kayleen, who's 10 years old. Where are you from, Kayleen? Wants to know what kind of training to be able to work with us one day. Well, got about 10 or 12, about 12 years to go. Finish school, do well at school to start with. Concentrate on biology and geography and a little bit of history and nature studies, and learn about wildlife already from such a young age. The more you get interested now. Okay, buffalo's lying down. Okay, boys, good night. Okay, bye-bye, boys. When you finished school, you could do a couple of things, Kayleen. You could study filmmaking, and you could do study nature at the same time, so that you, like Tara's got a university degree in biology, zoology. Zoology is animals, botany is plants. And there are a number of courses you can do here in South Africa to become a game ranger, because you will need to do that too to be a presenter. You'd need to do a game ranger's course. More buffalo bulls. Squeaky brakes. Hello boys, goodbye boys. Oh, Roger. Thank you, Roger. What was the quiz bird? See, he has more lion tracks. But that was probably the 2 nights ago lion. Roger, that was a white-bellied sunbird. Not white-breasted, but white-bellied. Stations, a few Dogger boys on Mumba Road Junction. Drakensberg. Beautiful light behind us. There's a little bit of cloud in the west to give a bit of a backdrop to some of this new growth. Let's see what we can find going down Mumba Road. There's something in the top of a tree there. Is that a kite? That could very well be.
Andrew, coming.
I don't even get to see it. Maybe a little gap through here somewhere.
Andrew, coming.
Just right at the top.
Hmm?
Right at the top.
Yeah. Have we got a clear shot? Oh, I'm getting tied up in tape measures and straps.
Yeah.
Not a kite. Looks like I've got a bit of a greenish tinge to it. Sitting out in the open. Green pigeon. Green pigeon and black-shouldered kite are two very different birds.
Stations, I'm leaving the knock of this one, my fuzzy's got go. We're Sydney still in lock station. Of the long side.
Hello Betsy, hello Bets, morning to you Bets. Bets is a little concerned about hyena pups. If that skull is floppy ear, will those pups survive? Well, those pups are old enough now that pups. I don't know if they are hers. The problem is, Bets, we don't know what will happen. We just have to observe. We have to spend time looking. We don't know whether that was floppy ear. I don't know of another hyena that was as old as floppy ear. And the hyena skull that we found was a very old hyena. Not very old, but it was old. The teeth are quite worn. And we don't know if it's floppy ear. We don't know what cubs were floppy ears. We don't know what happened. She might be in a den somewhere with new cubs. As Tara said, the last time she had cubs, she disappeared for a while. So, unfortunately, I can't answer you, Bets. We're just going to have to wait and see. I don't think those cubs are still suckling, so I don't know if those cubs were hers or if they lost their mother. Things should be fine. I mean, it's possibly why they've been trying to drink from the other mother. Just as well I put boots on today, because it was cold. Playing with thorn trees. But it's kind of hard to keep track of who's who in that little hyena zoo, Bets, in terms of who belongs to who. And at this stage of the game, only Teddy is really dependent on suckling. So we'd only have to be worried if Teddy's mom disappeared. I don't know whether... You see, we don't know. And if we don't know, we can't really tell what an animal is going to do, because animals have their own way of thinking and doing things, and a lot of their actions are unpredictable. So this cloud is now moving over. We've got sun coming through behind us, which is nice. Hello, Kayleen. Thanks for letting us know. Kayleen's in California. Lots of hyena tracks here. You see, I think we need to start checking some of the other dens. Maybe we need to check that den off of Leopard Road one of these days. We need to check other dens to see, make sure. There's a young hyena that we're here. Oh, there is one big one. But there are at least 3 or 4 hyena here. Tracks, I mean. Samantha wants to know if we have bears. Not here in South Africa, no, Samantha. I don't know, there might be a bear in a zoo somewhere, but I have never seen, no. Never really been to zoos. But wild, no. Bears do not occur in Africa. Although, having said that, there are fossil records of bears up on the Mediterranean, I think. There's big lion tracks here, but I guess it must have been from 2 nights ago that these lions were here. Must have been where the lion came from, the east, headed down this way and then went up towards the lodge on Twin Dams Road. Spaghetti Junction. No sign of my leopard though. At all. What happened to the what? Charlotte wanted to know what happened to the Matingalan coalition of lions. Well, the Matingi is much further south from what I know, Charlotte, and just recently they were on a kill, a place called Arathusa, south of us. Well, elephant keeping this water pretty fresh. Lynn, here's the Mumba Road pan. That in the past has dried up, but strangely enough, elephants have dug into the water table here, and the water table is quite high this year. So there is standing water, surface water, and it's actually quite clean. Cleaner than that water's ever been. Cleanest. Oh, no leopard tracks here. Let's go up the riverbed. I don't know where this boy could be. Hello, Peggy. quickly to show you. Look at these. These are some of the prettiest leaves that we have when they're fresh. This is the buffalo thorn. It's a very soft light green, and they're actually the most palatable now when they're fresh like this. These are make a salad. We can add them to a salad. It's got to get the thorns out off of the branches. But before they harden and dry, they're soft and not even bitter. New acacia leaves coming out. What would this be? A nilotica maybe? Yeah, they are long. They're some of the longest thorns. So I think it could be a nilotica. Just coming into flower as well. Bees, Peggy. We do have bees. We haven't got as many bees as we should have. I was quite surprised actually, because I had the tambuti. Well, the couple of tambutis in camp were flowering just above my room and sort of just outside the kitchen. And up until a couple of days ago, they were humming with bees from very early in the morning. And there's obviously a very good hive somewhere close by. But as with the rest of the world, bees are on a bit of a decline. And at the moment, there aren't that many out. I've seen a few. I've rescued a few from the pool. Always rescuing bees. I don't know, bees are very important to me. Well, they're very important to the world, really. Hopefully we'll see some more in time. Oh, here's a black monkey thorn in bloom. Spike thorn in bloom. Hello, Amber in Utah. You're asking about the sunbirds. Are they migrants or they stay here? No, they live here all year round, Amber. And believe it or not, there are a few things that flower for them in the dry season. And one of the flowers that they get to, in fact, not one flower, but one of the types of plants that flowers in the dry season is mistletoe. The different types of mistletoe that one can get here, whether it's Visicum or Tapenanthus or Tarchananthus. In fact, there's a different type of mistletoe for every type of tree. You might get a species-specific type of mistletoe, and you get a very special one for the bush willows. It's known as Visicum combriticolia because it lives on the combritums. Okay, I'm getting really lost here with this leopard track. So we're going to go and try up towards, I think we'll go and try up towards Weaver's Nest. See if he didn't go up that way. Kind of backwards. It was almost... I just smelt him now. Did you smell that? Just smelt the leopard now. So I didn't smell earlier. Anyways, we've seen other things while we're looking for him, or signs of him. Kind of half-heartedly looking for this leopard now because it's getting late. Long after he's been walking around. We can maybe try and find tracks again if we're lucky. Hello, zebra. So we've been here already this morning, but we didn't see these zebras, so it goes to show. And a little foal with some impala. Shelly. Hello Shelly. Hello zebras. I'm gonna have a look at this little foal. Morning everybody. Hello baby. Shelly was asking about the roads and the animal tracks and whether the animals, because of the animal tracks on the roads, do the animals prefer to use the roads rather than blazing a trail through the bushes. Shelly, when they're off of the roads like this is when they're feeding, and to some extent they don't really want to be walking around on their food, so wherever there's a pathway the animals will use a pathway, but they will use the pathway also because it has no twigs and leaves and it's quiet and it's softer, and so animals do have their own trails, they do have their own pathways, and they don't really, I suppose they don't see our roads as any different. In fact, they probably think that we're using their roads. So very much so, one of the reasons why it's easy sometimes to follow tracks is because animals stick to the road, especially the cats. When they patrol their territory. You often find things like the herbivores don't necessarily walk along the roads that much. They tend to cross the roads more than anything else, because they're busy feeding all the time. But if they were going to water, they'd walk along a road or a pathway. There are animal paths, elephant paths, hippo paths, rhino paths. Zebra make their own pathways too. Fluffy little zebra. And that must be Mom.
One low movement jump.
And all the others have come across the road now. Let me go back a little bit. This is the stallion closest to us now. The leader of the Dazzles. There you go, father and child. Oh, his ears are back. A nice big nick out of his ear. His left ear. He's been fighting.
Moving parallel along Pole Road.
What a young colt that.
So those two Madoda and Colors go down onto Moon Access east.
Okay. Bye-bye, horses. Enjoy your day. Oh, missed. There's a plated lizard. Must keep an eye out for him. Lovely big rough skull plated lizard that was sitting at the entrance to its burrow. Dive down the hole. Okay. Back near the Wahlberg's nest, and one of the Wahlbergs is back. When we come back from leave, we'll start taking down dates for first Woodlands Kingfisher and first Impala lamb. Hello, pretty thing. Look at those talons, wow. Okay, now this isn't a very big eagle, believe it or not. I mean, it's big, but it's nowhere near as big as, say, the tawny eagle, which is perhaps our medium-sized eagle, and then you get the bigger black eagle, crowned eagle, and then the martial eagle. This is about half the size of a martial eagle. But as you can see, the feet, the legs feathered all the way down to the feet, so it is considered what we call a true eagle, as opposed to the Battelier, which is considered a snake eagle. A little bit of a crest on the back there, picking up in the wind. Hello, looking at us. And predominantly a bird hunter, the Wahlbergs, more than mammals. And I think one of the most incredible kills I've seen from a Wahlberg's eagle, well, I've seen two really amazing kills. One I actually saw the kill, and one I saw it after it had killed, was the barn owl. I had one morning on drive up in the Timbavati, saw Wahlbergs that had just killed a barn owl. But one of the most spectacular kills that happened right in front of me was a Wahlbergs taking out a weaver bird in pretty thick bush as well. One wonders how a bird with that kind of wingspan could even find its way through that kind of bush to get to that weaver bird. But it managed and flew away with it. Cheerio, child. Nice, didn't even fly away. Right, let's investigate. We'll go up Elephant Skull, we'll go up towards Treehouse Dam now. Maybe. Diane, question in the chat room was, can't you tell the difference between a bloated zebra and a pregnant zebra? Sure, you only really tell when it's in its last, when it's sort of reaching the end of its pregnancy. You can just see how wide it is, how bigger it is. And zebra are generally bloated because of the bacteria that they have in their gut that helps to digest plant the grasses. Well, it doesn't help digest it, it helps break it down for digestion. And of course, a byproduct of that is a gas that is given off, which causes that bloating and causes a lot of gas in the stomach, and that helps with the digestion process, fermentation.
Yeah, I just don't pull up on it smell, yeah, I think I can still hear it.
Okay, next time we see zebra, we'll try and point it out. Okay, Gilly asking, hello baby mongoose. Hello Gilly, did we find anything about that red zebra? No, we haven't. We found a lot of melanistic zebra photos, but I haven't found, Seb was also looking. We've had a few people send in stuff that has got photos of zebra that are melanistic, odd stripe patterns, in fact spots even, one fold where the stripes are broken into spots. Those are sort of seriously recessive genes that I suppose under certain circumstances over time could become a dominant gene if it if it proved to be advantageous to have that kind of coat pattern. And he wants to know if they all have the same number of stripes. Now that's a good question. I've never really counted the stripes on a zebra. But no, I don't think so. I mean, each one has a different coat, of course we know that. Each one, the pattern of their stripes is different. As different as, well, as individual as we are. No two are ever the same. But I've never really thought about the number of stripes. Oh well, leopard didn't come here. I didn't think it came this way. And we'll go to the dam nonetheless. Other thing we can look at is the opposite direction to where the tracks were going, because maybe while it was walking it did a detour, turned around, went to look at something and then carried on its path. We haven't quite finished with that leopard yet, because if anything all I've done is found out where it hasn't gone, and that's going to leave a couple of places that we need to look at. Okay, you're breaking up there a bit, Seb. Sandy, something about the stripes. Sandy, saying that I noticed they all have a spot on the inside of their leg. Is that unusual? No, that is quite normal, Sandy. Talking about that spot on the inside of the front leg is known as the chestnut. I remember Becky's a horse person. Becky told me that. I should have known that because been around horse people for a long time. It's like a callus, as far as I know. The youngster didn't have it yet. But all adult zebras have it. Ah, Tony. Of course, it's weekend. Tony wants to see the sausage tree. Okay, let's try and get there towards the end of the drive, Tony. There is a wood sandpiper. There it goes. And a single goose and a single blacksmith lapwing. And a little bit of algae starting to bloom on the dam. What? Are we on the edge of the... One day somebody's going to fall off this damn wall. All they need to do is just grade the top of it. The water never gets this high. I don't know why they need to keep putting stuff on top of the damn wall and making it narrower. And red-breasted swallows. And the jasmine flowers aren't open. Red-breasted swallows are collecting mud. Hello, hippo. I guess it's Singles Day here at Treehouse Dam. We got a single hippo. We got a single goose. We got a single blacksmith lapwing and a single sandpiper. Only thing in pairs at the moment are the swallows, the red-breasted, who've both flown off with mud in their beaks. See if we can keep track of where they're going. They must be going to one of those marula trees up there. Near Spam Road. I thought they were maybe nesting in that big jackalberry, but they're not. I will find that swallow nest one of these days. Hello, Kiboko. Sorry, talking away from the mic now. Just talking about the swallow nest, the red-breasted swallows. Okay, so no cats came this way, but we're going to still do a loop around here. We'll go up to Spam Road, down onto Philemon's cut line perhaps. And since we're going to be that close to the sausage tree, we might as well then go to the sausage tree, I suppose. Okay. Teddy. Oh, interesting. Referring to the melanistic zebras, wanting to know if a foal that is born that doesn't look right, will it be rejected by the mother? No, I think maternal instinct there is too strong. Who knows? I guess maybe there's a remote possibility that it could be. And in all the photos that I was seeing with these melanistic zebra, they were all standing, they were foals, a lot of them, but they were all standing with the mare and seemed to be fine. Knobthorn cut. Trees cut. Hello, bears. Bears in the Netherlands. Is there a big difference between the number of bird species between the different seasons? There is quite a big difference, bears. We do get a lot of migrants that come through now in summer. The numbers pick up considerably. I'm just trying to think of numbers. There we go. There's our leopard walking here. Finally found. At least I think it's the same one. Nice tracks too, actually, for plaster casts. Bears, I'd say about a third of our bird species migrate here at the end of our summer. Looks like it's about the same size leopard. Nice big male. So this could be my fufunyan. Came in, did a turn around Gary Dam area and came back up back to the south. these tracks that I'm seeing now are a lot fresher than the tracks that we saw this morning, and perhaps if we had come here this morning we would have seen him. But I'm hoping that he might still be around, because those tracks are quite fresh now. And somehow he must have... Hello, mongoose. Dived down a hole. Sorry, mongoose. We're going to check on Gary Main quickly. This is like the area that Mafufunyan moves in, so I'm guessing it might be him. Now Safari was also in this area 2 days ago. So maybe, and well, he was seen with Safari, so that's why, another reason why I'm sure it's probably been him. And here the tracks are now. So we lost this leopard. Yeah, there he goes up that way. Maybe he's on the main road even. Let's see. We'll see if we can see where he crossed. If he did cross over. Question in Canada. Hello, Bob. Alberta. Okay, I want to just look on foot quickly. Be with you in a sec, Bob. Same leopard, 11. But I'm not seeing where he crossed the road, and it looks like he was walking up. Maybe he was, I don't know, maybe we'll see further up. Bob was asking, Bob in Canada, is there a reason why so many trees here have thorns? There is, Bob. It's a physical defense that the trees and plants have developed over time as a result of a huge diversity of animals that have become browsers, animals that browse on the leaves and the branches, and over time trees develop this physical defense. The zebra up ahead. I don't want zebra, I want leopard. And that physical defense was either in the form of a thorn or a spine. Sorry, I'm just trying to, my brain's trying to talk, but my mind's trying to think about leopard and where this leopard would have crossed this road. There could be been a lot of cars here. Hello. That doesn't look like a male though. It looks like a slightly smaller cat. It might have gone in there. See anything there? No. Oh well. I don't see where he crossed, if he did cross. So, see, this is a tree here. This is called a sickle bush. It is a puncture. This becomes one of the hardest, especially when they dry, one of the hardest sharp objects in the bush, and that's what gives us punctures from time to time. So basically this tree started building up a physical defense. The acacias, instead of the branches becoming spines, leaves modified to become thorns, and maybe if I find another acacia that is just coming into leaf, you can see how soft and green the new thorns are. They look just like a leaf coming out, and then they eventually just become a hard thorn. But they are not as hard and as woody as the spines, but they still serve the same purpose. Here's another family of zebra. You want to count the stripes? Not particularly. There's 4 of them. Some of the trees that don't have thorns and spines don't need them because they weren't utilized by the browsers. Trees that have a natural defense, like leathery leaves, unpalatable leaves, velvety leaves, leaves that might be very, very soft, yet are very, very high in their tannin content, so they're very bitter. Here's an acacia, but there's no new growth there. So it goes without saying that a lot of the thorny and spiny plants are perhaps the most palatable plants, the plants that are most utilized by animals. Physical defense that was initially a modification for plants to try and stop animals from eating too much of the plant. That's quite a buffalo.
That is quite...
That's another one that Tara can...
Sure.
I mean that's quite that you could have quite a quiz with. Of course, it's going to be flattened by the end of the day with cars driving it. I'd hate to be the car that hits that at 30 kilometers an hour. You're going to spray it everywhere. Talk about feces hitting the fan. But he must have been keeping it in for a while. It's like a boat. It's the size of an elephant or a rhino dung. Do you want to put it on the side of the road and... I'm not playing with it now, it's wet. But, wow. Even the top of it was broken off. You don't often find a buffalo patty that huge. He must have been holding it in, just waiting to get to the road. You can just imagine this buffalo. Oh, I really need to, but I want to keep it, I want to keep it. And then he finally got to the road and he goes, ah! There you go. Boom. Lizard buzzard. Oh, it's just flown. No, it's gone right through to the back. There's a lizard buzzard sitting way out in the open. Nice raptor weather today. So much for that cat. Well, at least I found out where he did go finally, and now I'm not puzzled about where this leopard went. We finally found where he went. Anyone on Western Gowrie? Hi Sydney, how are you? Any update for Western Gowrie?
Coming over to the dam now and make my way to the time.
Okay, copy, thanks. Off Zoe's Road, do you know where Zoe's and Rebecca's meet?
I don't know where it is. Have you been there today?
Sorry, no, I haven't been there yet today. Jock saying there's nothing happening at the hyena den. Now some of the scotias are coming into flower and they're beautiful crimson flowers, but that one isn't yet, and we've still got to find one that's close enough to the road. Perhaps that big one on Vulture's Nest maybe, to see those flowers. So Bob, hopefully answered your question about why so many trees and plants have thorns and spines. Interesting thing though is that since plants developed these thorns and spines and this very harsh physical defense, animals had to adapt to it. Otherwise, of course, they wouldn't survive. They would start feeding on a branch or on some leaves, and they'd find it too difficult to feed on because of the thorns and the spines, and of course it would make it difficult for them to feed. So as plants developed this physical defense, the animals adapted to it by getting thicker tongues, lips, palates, gums. And we see how these animals are able to strip the leaves off of branches, even with all the thorns that would tear our skin. And yet their mouths and their tongues are fine from that, after that. It still has an effect though. I mean, it still stops the animals from putting their heads right into the middle of the bush, keeps the animals browsing around the outside of the tree, and it actually is all a positive process, because the way the growth point of a tree is always on the edge. As far as trees are concerned, your growth point is at the end of the branches. And as you know, if you excuse me a second. Go ahead. First tracks I saw were on Warburg's Nest Road heading down to Twin Dams Road. The next tracks I saw were on the junction of Nyala Road South and Vulture's Nest, still heading south. And the last tracks I saw were on the junction of Sprum Road and Treehouse Dam. He must have crossed into Little Gowrie.
Okay, copy. Ja, that's a lot. Thank you, Madonna. Taxi, 5307. Okay, copy. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure that must be Mafufunyan, is it? That's a big male, eh?
Yeah, it's okay.
So, where was I? Where was I? I know where I am. I'm on Philemon's cut line, heading east, eastish. Talking about plants and their physical defense. Plants nowadays engage in chemical warfare. Oh, that's what I was saying. It's about the growth point of plants. You see, when an animal, when you take the tip of a branch and you break it or you cut it, it then maybe becomes 2 or 4 branches the next season, which is why things branch out the way they do. And so the trees actually need animals to be feeding on them the way they do, eating the tips of their branches, because by feeding on the tips of the branches it makes the tree branch out even more, and that means that the next season there's actually more food for an animal. It's quite amazing actually, because when you think about it, and you think about grasses and the way grasses grow, the growth point of a grass is its base, because if the growth point of grasses were the tips of the leaves, the same as it is with trees, with the way animals feed on them, the animals would eat all the growth points. But because with grasses, the growth point of the grasses is the base, the more animals feed on it, the more leaves are produced by the tuft and the base of the grass. So it works kind of the opposite way to branches. So the grazers also, by feeding on the grasses, actually make more grasses for themselves the next time round, because it fattens up the grass clump itself, the rhizome. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the old hyena den just in here off of Philemon's cut line. A lot of hyena tracks. Jacques was saying that there's nothing at the hyena den. Let's take a look at this old den before we go down to the sausage tree. Tony, are you still with us in California for the sausage tree visit? And whoever else, we might have to see it again later this afternoon. Where? In here?
The highway,
Vehicle highway.
yeah.
But nobody's been here for ages. But it's just when the den was here, it's become a road. There's a leopard. In the tree. On a kill. Fresh kill. Wow. Okay. Finally doing my job. Thanks, Sept. This looks like it could be Karula. There's a fresh kill too. Oh man, what a lovely thing to find. Now, if we can just find our way in here to find a decent viewing spot, try and drive over these branches. That's a fresh kill. I wonder if I park the car here. It looks like could be Karula. Can you see her through there? Okay, just for now. And I'm going to see if I can't do something about these branches.
Oh, God, yeah.
No.
There's a branch.
Okay, there's that branch in the way. Tony is still watching. Tony's going to take us a while now to get to... Sorry, Tara, I'm trying to... Well, that's pretty good, actually. No, you've got this in the way. Is it this one right here?
No, it's the one behind, that little one.
Okay. Alright. I'm going to move. Get into a better position. See if we can just get through this little gap here.
Yeah, that's good.
That looks like one of the youngsters. That's Karula. She must have just caught that within the last few minutes. She's only just recently taken it up the tree and only really just starting to feed now on the rump. And as much as it pains me to do this, I have to do it. Stations 1 Ingwe, just close to Oldham PC Kaya on Philemon's Cut Line.
Very much, Mark. Is Karula?
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks for. Yeah, we like to come. I'm long way. I'm busy looking something galang concert.
Okay, don't worry him for this. The Ingwe is not going anywhere. She's got a mile up in Mkanye.
Thanks very much. Yeah, well done, bro. Mark, I'm at 3 hours down. I'm going to make my way there.
You're welcome.
Confirm, Mark, she's got a bomber.
Yeah, firm. Looks like it's quite fresh.
Okay, got me Muslim visual of the bomber.
Yeah, it's pretty thick to get in here with all this combretum, but pretty open marula.
Okay, got me. Yeah, now I'm going to give a skip. Well done, Mark.
No, today was a hot day. She'd battle a little bit because it's way out in the open, but I think it's nice and cool, the temperatures. It's a little bit overcast. Really perfect little branch that for a leopard. Tony's saying we better go to the sausage tree quickly before it wanders off. No, yeah, I know. Thanks, Tony. Tony's saying, yeah, better watch the leopard. We can go to the sausage tree later. Elvis. I've shoot. Yeah, you know Oldham PC Kaya off of Filament's cut line. I'm probably visual from Filament's cut line. Yeah, affirmative. No, it's a new bumper I'm for. It's going to be here all day. Okay, copy though. Are you recording? I don't know what she was pulling out there, but she's a female impala. There is going to be a fetus in there, but I don't know what it is, what part of it she's eating now. It's long, stringy. Now, just looking at how much she's eaten on the back there. I'd say it's a couple of hours. I was thinking minutes, but she's actually been there for a while. Oh wow, there she look at that. There, why didn't you click then? I was waiting for the shutter to go off when she was looking at us.
I was actually just checking on
On the other camera.
what everybody else was seeing. Do it again, Karula.
Did you see how she looked at us there?
Yeah.
I didn't have my camera out yet. My camera doesn't do it justice. Tara's taking photos. I don't go away beeping batteries. Or is it your camera beeping?
I wish it was. Actually, what I was going to say to you is there's a mark just on the shoulder on the Impala.
I noticed that. It's not so much a mark as much as it is a hole. And it's a little bit big for a canine tooth hole. Might have been an injury bringing it down. Sorry, station calling me?
Try 7.
Let's try and get around there. I'm trying to think. It's gonna be a bit of a gruesome view. I think at the moment we're lucky. We've got this branch that's in front of her, but that branch is actually hiding the gory bits. If I move around a bit, we get to see a bit more of her, but we're gonna see a little bit more. Yeah, inverter's beeping. Oh man. Georgia. Jojo. As in Joe Square Jojo. Hi Jojo. Please maybe just rephrase your question. Saying something about if she's in a tree, something about other predators. I mean, other predators could probably find it, but they're not going to get it. Although I have to say, she's in a marula tree that's fairly easy for a lion to climb. But I'm not too sure what your question is, Joe. Sydney, come in. You see, now this is where we're in a little bit of a dilemma, because I do need to think about shutting down. But I don't want to go anywhere. Like she's settling down a little bit. She's probably going to eat a little bit and then go and find the children. And that's a heavy impala. I mean, there's a 3/4 term infant inside that impala's belly. You can see how round it is. Sydney, come in. Aha, Jojo was asking. Karula usually has a kill on the ground. She's wondering if it's unusual that she's up a tree. It might have something to do with hyenas being close by. It might have something to... The thing is, there's no real usual. I mean, we have seen her on the ground with kills on a number of occasions. It might have something to do with the fact that it's cooler temperatures and there's a stronger likelihood of other predators moving around still in these cooler temperatures. Sydney, come in. Sydney, do you copy?
Negative.
Are you copying me?
Yeah, no, I'm just coming here, going, I'm on Zoe's road or Rebecca's road. We go east towards PCK. Must I take that road?
No, Sydney, I'm off Philemon's Cut Line, Weaver's Nest Junction, where the Oldham PC Kaya was. I don't know if you remember, there was a hyena den here too.
No, I do remember that. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at this. Is this PC Kaya still active here?
It is still active, but evidently Jacques was there this morning. There wasn't much happening there this morning.
Okay, so I'll have a look here. Are you going to be there for a bit?
I am going to have to get back to camp soon, but I'll still be here for another a few minutes.
Okay, so I can't get there in 2 minutes because I'm at this PC car, so I'll just have a quick look here and then come make my way there. Is that okay?
Yeah, not a problem. I'll keep in touch. But I'll let you know if I need to go earlier.
Be right there, won't be long.
Not a problem.
Mark.
You got a text?
For confirming you're very close to that old piece of car, you hover into that small track towards the piece of car, the old piece of car.
Yeah, I did come in from there, but you might find it easier to come in from Philemon's Cut Line.
Okay, copy that, thanks. So if I get into Philemon's, just drive west along Philemon's Cut Line.
Yeah, firm. I'm just a little bit west of that track to the Oldham PC Kaya.
Okay, copy that, thanks.
I'm going to have to strip all the batteries and things today. I'm going to try and sort this problem out. And that was charging all night, and those chargers were showing 0 this morning. So, Jojo, not too sure why she's decided to treat this particular quokka. I'm glad she did, because we probably wouldn't have seen it if she was on the ground with it. And I do want to just stop at the sausage tree. Actually, no, Tony, we might have to leave that till later this afternoon. What is that? I wonder that she's pulling out. Oh. I wonder if that's placenta. That's quite gory, even for me.
I think we can see too much detail. I'm not going to zoom in too much.
Okay, that's the stomach that she's got now. So what she's been eating,
Oh, look,
the intestine. Hyena's arrived, and it's
look who it is.
no, it's not floppy. It's that other one
There
that.
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
No, it's not. It's just got the top of its ear flopping over. That's not floppy ear. It's half the size that floppy ear was. That's the one that I said the other day was.
You mind your hat?
I don't think that's floppy ear. You see, you look at these hyenas, their ears look like they're starting to get a bit of skin cancer on their ears.
Well, I was looking at some old footage of floppy ear, and she had that on her left ear. She had a couple of notches.
Yeah, but look, that ear is just flopping over on the top. Wasn't floppy ear the left ear?
Right ear.
Was the right ear?
Yeah.
But that ear is just flopping a little bit on the top. It's not the whole ear. And look how small that hyena is. Floppy ear was... She didn't have long hair like that.
Mm.
That's the hyena I saw the other day that people were thinking was floppy ear. Oh, sorry, my hat again. Rafi, morning to you. Shalom, Rafi. Why do they always lick around the entry point where they're feeding? Is it to clean it? No, Rafi, mostly it's to get rid of the hair. To soften it, to get rid of the hair so that they can bite into the skin. Okay, unfortunately we're gonna... No, I'm sorry, I really don't think that's floppy ear. It has got a floppy ear, but it's just the top of the ear folded over. That's not the whole
Yeah,
ear.
no, I see what you're saying now. It is a little bit younger in the face.
And it is an adult, and those ears are grizzled. Those ears are pretty bad. And I've been noticing it a lot with that other hyena too. The tip of the ears are starting to get very pink. And of course, the youngsters chew on their ears, and when they're fighting, their ears get damaged. But I know that cheetah in Serengeti, perhaps, in some places cheetah are starting to get a little bit of sun damage, and I suppose you could call it like a skin cancer on the ears. And the noses are in danger too. No ozone. I heard a vehicle.
Yeah, I'm hearing a vehicle.
Cheryl wanting to know if she goes and fetches the cubs and if the lions can climb a tree, will they steal it, or is there a chance of a confrontation? Very much so. If there were a lion here, there's a very good chance that they would climb that tree and try and steal it. She would climb into the higher branches away, and what they would then do is they would probably steal the kill and then leave her alone. Once they get the meat, they're not really worried about it. But yes, she's got the chance of another leopard or something else getting up there and getting the kill. Oh, missed it. Almost got that photo. Which station just been at Philemon's Dip?
Yeah, Sydney.
Okay, Sydney. Have you come out onto the southern side?
Philemon's cut line now, just past Philemon's Dip. It's almost at that MPC easy, I'm with you.
Okay, copy. That is always a danger. Probably one of the reasons why she's maybe in a tree now. If the cubs are still around the camp, she's got a little way to go and fetch them, which means that she's going to have to leave the kill for a while. The hyena, of course, are not going to be able to get into the tree. The hyena are incapable of climbing trees. So the only thing really is other leopard, and perhaps a lioness would try and get up there. It's a fairly easy one for a lioness. I've seen lion in even more difficult trees. But I think she's fairly safe. I don't think there are other cats around at the moment. Duna might be around. He's always in the background whenever there's a kill. Either his mother or his father. And if Induna touches that kill, he'll... Yeah, there's one under the tree. Go Tex.
Confirm she's up on the flat.
Yeah, it's got a bumper up in Kanye. Well, we are going to have to... this is such a dilemma. It's one thing when we're driving around and things start beeping. It's another thing when we're on this kind of thing and the batteries are beeping, and I know we shouldn't really push. Okay, other vehicles are coming anyway, so we're going to have to leave. Andrew, come in. He's far away. Andrew, I'll be pulling up. Morning, Sydney.
Morning.
I'm just good. I was actually gonna check this hyena den to see if it might be active. Okay, we got to move out because other vehicles are coming in. Okay, off we're going to move on and have to get back. So, I got stations, I'm leaving locked for the Ingwe with Sydney unlocked.
Thank you very much, Mark.
See you later. So we're gonna get out through this way. Okay, sorry, Seb. So, was there a question from Gilly? Okay, Gilly was wondering, how did she kill the impala? By strangulation. She probably would have strangled it. There's even another impala ram over there, oblivious to this. 2 rams. So Gilly, yes, probably would have strangled it. She probably would have cut off its windpipe and its vocal cord so that it couldn't make a noise. Back and we're gone again. Okay, we should be back. It was camera battery, but the other battery is giving up with Ghost soon. Just want to get past the pump house because it's making a noise, and we're gonna just get down here into the dip. I'll say goodbye to you when you can look at the sausage tree as we say goodbye. It's beautiful. Tony, this is the sausage tree at its best. Somebody was actually asking, why do we concentrate on this one? Why aren't there any others? It's mostly because this isn't really sausage tree habitat, and I guess it's just lucky to have this one. Closer to the main rivers further south, like the Sabi and the Sand River, there are a lot of sausage trees down there, but this is the only one in this immediate area that I know of. And yes, I'm pretty sure, if nothing steals the kill, folks, for those of you who are asking, I'm pretty sure that it's still going to be there this afternoon. It's going to be a hot day. It's starting to warm up now. I have to take off 3 layers in once, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, just all of a sudden. It's just suddenly, wow. So yeah, she's going to be in the heat. They might even leave the kill to just sit in the sun all day, and they'll be lying up in the shade somewhere. And later this afternoon, this evening, I think that's when it's going to get active again. So maybe then it would be better. Sorry, I was about to take my shirt off. I better not. So, beautiful sausage tree, full bloom at the moment, and very dense crown. Really lovely. That was amazing. I'm glad we found that cat. I'm glad that we're going to have something to start with this afternoon. My name is Mark with Tara on camera. Seb has been in final control, and we will be with you later this afternoon. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.